All right, hello, folks. Welcome back to another edition of Afternoon Drive here on WJOP Radio. My name is Drew Moholland. Hope you're all having a very nice Tuesday afternoon here. It is sunny out. That is nice. It is windy. And man, how about that wind last night? I don't know if any of you were woken up to start the week. I was overnight. Gusty winds. There were wind advisories overnight, and I know a lot of people lost power last night, so scattered all across the state. Not sure how much of an issue that was in Newburyport specifically, but yeah, very windy, very loud. My dog was freaking out, so yeah, that was how we started the week on a Monday night. But hopefully you're all doing okay out there and are all rested up for Tuesday afternoon here. But an eventful afternoon on the news front so far. I don't know if any of you were around Kenmore Square or in Boston today, Fenway area. They had Boston police have now issued the all clear, so that's all good. But we heard that there was a man spotted with a gun, which put the area pretty much into lockdown. Everybody was told to stay inside all around Kenmore Square. And as you can imagine, for those of you who know that area and have been to a Red Sox game in your life, that is a very busy area. You end up influencing and affecting the Green Line trains and all the buses, and it's just a busy hub. Thank goodness there wasn't a Red Sox game at home today. More on that in just a second, because we got day baseball this afternoon. But pretty scary stuff there to hear a man walking around with a gun around Kenmore. We'll end up seeing if maybe this was I don't know if it was a hoax or if it was bad information, or maybe it was one of those things where it was an umbrella or something, but we'll learn more. But Boston police did give the all clear this afternoon, so everything's good around Kenmore Square. Rest easy, all you parents of Boston University kids and all that stuff. So again, the all clear given after a bit of a scare in Kenmore Square this afternoon. A second time in a couple of weeks that a school has been put on lockdown. Simmons there a couple of weeks ago. You might remember that story where somebody thought they heard gunshots and everybody was sent scrambling and running into closets at Simmons. It's kind of just the other side of Fenway Park there too. Same general area, but it ended up being balloons, if you remember correctly. The world that we live in there. Something like that happens and shuts down areas of the city. So we'll end up seeing what today's incident was. You'll learn about that tomorrow, I'm sure, if not earlier. But again, the all clear given in that situation. Speaking of that neck of the woods, the Red Sox are out of town because they are in Houston for a 5:09 first pitch today. The pivotal Game 3 in a 1-1 series with Houston and the Sox in the ALCS. Nathan Eovaldi getting the ball tonight. I guess it's today, right? Today, 5:09. That's technically afternoon. So Nathan Eovaldi getting the ball today for the Red Sox, and in what should be a big game. Dallas Keuchel going for Houston. Always important to get that Game 3 when the series is tied up at 1. So should be fun to watch that today. I love that there's no better start time in the world for me than 5:09, 5 o'clock baseball. Yes, please sign me up. The 7 o'clock games, the 8 o'clock games, when you work extremely early like me, can be very difficult to stay up for. So very excited about a 5 o'clock baseball start today. And also opening night for the Celtics as well. So it's kind of a big sports night if you want to, go Red Sox right into Celtics. Celtics open up today. Philadelphia. Brad Stevens was just talking about that matchup today. So opener for the Celtics as well. So a big sports night. Big sports afternoon, and it's kind of going to be this way for a little bit because sports are combining right now. You get the Sox still in action at the end of the baseball season. Celtics now underway. The Bruins have been off for 2 weeks now. They're underway. And, of course, the Patriots. So all sports combining. It's chaos here in New England, and all sports teams are pretty good. So there you go. Our guest today, I don't think I previewed him last week. I don't think we did that on the show. So those of you who have not had a chance to meet Sean Gallagher, the new Newburyport school superintendent, you will get the chance here on this show today. Sean Gallagher, the first-year superintendent at Newburyport, is in the house, and we'll get to him in just a moment. All sorts of stuff to talk about, and I get to meet him myself. I have not met him in person, so we'll get to do that here in just a moment. On the other side of the break, learn a little bit about his background and the job of a superintendent and all that good stuff. Don't forget, folks, you can follow the show at Joppa Afternoons on Twitter. That's at Joppa Afternoons, Joppa on Twitter, at Joppa Afternoons. Shoot us any questions for the Superintendent Gallagher if you want, and stay interactive with the show as much as you can. Tyler Neufeld producing the radio side today. David Kramer on the TV side. Those guys, as always. There's Tyler's hand. Very good. Forgot to cue you to the hand this time. A nice yellow shirt today. Very, very attention getting too. Throw that handbag in again, Tyler. Let's see it again. There, look at that. The yellow shirt. Very good. So Tyler's on the radio side. David Kramer on the TV side. Hello to everybody watching at home, and to everybody watching on the YouTube stream, which I know we get a lot of people as well from out of town. So hello and welcome to all of you. Thanks for joining us on the show here on a Tuesday, a sun-splashed Tuesday afternoon in Newburyport. Definitely feels like fall, though. Bundle up out there if you're going outside. A little blustery, too. So, but don't go outside until after the show. Very good. We'll be right back with the Superintendent of Newburyport Schools, Sean Gallagher, in just a moment. My name is Drew Moholland. Keep it here, Joppa Radio. All right, welcome back to Afternoon Drive here on Joppa Radio. My name is Drew Moholland. Hope you're all having a good start to your Tuesday afternoon here. Again, this is a nice little pre-Red Sox first pitch thing for you. Perfect timing, right? Good to see you again. We're joined by Sean Gallagher, the new superintendent. I guess maybe I could still say new, right,
Sure.
Sean? Absolutely.
Yes,
First year.
absolutely.
First fall, what do you call it, semester? Or,
That's right, first semester.
Very good. Well, nice to have you on. Nice to meet
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks for coming in. How's it going so far?
It's going great.
Yeah.
You know, as we were talking before, earlier, growing up on the North Shore in Salem and
Salem
having
guy.
a lot of these North Shore ties, I just feel like back in Essex County and just kind of coming home, you know?
Yeah, it's nice.
It's been great.
What a great
Wonderful.
place this is too. First of all, it's a beautiful city, but and it seems like I've always enjoyed the people. You can walk around, and actually there was a quote that I read about you when I was doing my little prep work that I thought was a real good synopsis of this place. It said, "Yes, it's a city, but it has a small town feel to it," which I thought was right on.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it is, and you know, started in July 1st, and ever since then, I've been really getting to understand the community. So from the outside in, I learned about a lot of Newburyport pride and traditions. But being here and working within the community, I'm actually living a lot of these traditions, like homecoming. You know, is just an awesome event, and working with a lot of the parent groups and the community groups. Really, you know, put students and families first, which is it's just really awesome.
Yeah, homecoming is kind of a big deal around here.
It's a big deal.
That was new to me too when
Right.
I first came along. We actually, the station did that covered the Newburyport bed race this year, and I said the Newburyport what? and you race with beds. That's what it is.
and I think, you know, well, who knows? We'll have maybe a superintendent bed race.
There you go. You're gonna get
we'll
one next
jump
year.
in there, yeah.
There you go.
Might
That sounds
have to
like
get a knee brace and so do a little running there.
There's some good times out there.
There really is.
What was the
Very
winning time,
competitive.
Tyler? Do you remember?
Yeah.
It was very.
It was the Raleigh Police.
Raleigh Police won this year, I guess.
All right.
Raleigh Police.
Oh, we got to get them.
Yeah, good memory. Yes. There you go. So very, very fast times. Some people are there just for the show. Others are there to win that race. So, well, very good. So, what's been the biggest challenge jumping into a new place like this and starting this gig?
Well, I think anytime you come into a system, you know, my first priority is to really get to know the people and really develop relationships and build upon relationships. So, you know, and I'm more of a hands-on type of superintendent. So I've been in the classrooms, you know, I think every classroom within the district a few times, and really working with the teachers, the administration, and leadership. And that's been, I don't say that as a challenge, is part of my entry plan, and I think that's really important. So people, we begin to develop trust among one another, and really, you know, when people get to know me, they'll know a lot of the decisions that we're going to make is going to be in the best interest of students and families, and we'll go from there.
You know, I had actually heard that about you because one of our interns is a student in the school, Lexi, and she had said she met you, and I think Tyler and I were both talking, or at least I was talking. Maybe Tyler was just listening. I can't remember. That happens sometimes. But I was saying I cannot ever remember meeting my superintendent in high school, and I don't remember at all. And I don't think it ever happened. And it seems like you are actually meeting a lot of the students, which I don't know if that's unique or what, but it felt unique to me.
Right. No, it's been great, and that's kind of my leadership style, you know, because that's why we're here. You know, sometimes you forget, especially in administrative jobs and sometimes with central office, you know, because you're trying to get caught up on emails and trying to manage the whole system. And sometimes you can forget why you're coming here every day. And I've never, throughout my educational career, I don't think I've ever forgot that. And I think to work with students and touch base with students and really understand what they're going through on a daily basis really helps you make informed decisions for the district. So student input to me is really, really important.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, this has been one of my favorite questions here over the last year for as far as questions for teachers, and I already know how my producer feels about this one. Tyler, Tyler likes to sleep in for school, and the issue of school start times.
Tyler wants to start school at 4.
Yes, that's
4 in
true.
the afternoon.
I think when I was in high school, I think I wanted to sleep in as well, if I remember correctly. But it seems to be one of those topics that nationwide, there's a, you get those studies here and there that show kids do better on more sleep, and but then again, if you change the start time to later, it throws a whole bunch of things into flux, doesn't it? Your thoughts on that first?
Well, I think it's, first of all, there was a group, and I've been meeting individually with a lot of the parents and community members that, really formed the group in Newburyport. There was a working group for 2 years that really kind of put together a lot of the data and the information. So I think that it really, when you're coming into a district, you look at the strategic plan, you look at the work that's gone into that, and really you as I was saying, you develop those relationships where you can bring people back to the table and have some of those discussions, and really I think that's kind of where we're at. And as you said, there's a push across the country and also within Massachusetts to really analyze late start time, especially for your secondary level, middle school and high school. A lot of research shows that how it benefits students. So for us as a community, it's really to work together and to see, where we were with some of those conversations and kind of how they got derailed, and really kind of find out, I think learning of what were the lessons learned, that things that went well with those conversations and where they didn't go so well. And for me, coming into this district, kind of to listen, pick up those pieces, and kind of start taking another look at that.
Is it something that's actually on the table, or is it more just a, let's always keep the conversation lines open, but we don't really see this happening at any time soon?
No, I think, if you look at the Middlesex League, and I was in Wilmington, so the Middlesex League kind of worked together as districts and superintendents, and they came up with kind of a 5-year plan. There are some schools now, Burlington being one, and Eric Conti, the superintendent, is a good friend of mine. So there's 5 schools within Middlesex that have kind of moved towards a late start time going into next year.
And what is late exactly?
For them, they're going to be starting around 8:30.
Okay.
They went from a 7:30 start. They're looking at 8:30. While other schools are going from 7:30 to an 8 o'clock or an 8:15 start. But they did that collectively as a league, which was 12 teams or 12 districts.
Right.
So some of them are more progressive, where they're going to be implementing next year, and then the other ones have a 2 and a 3 year plan to get on board.
Okay.
So there's a lot of approaches, but in Massachusetts, the Middlesex League itself is, I think, when you're looking at success with later start, and that's one league in some of the people that we'll go out and we'll talk with. So,
so you can watch their success rate or lack of, I guess.
Right, and you find out what worked, what didn't work, what were some of the pitfalls, what were some of within their community, some of the concerns. And I think in any school community, you take best practice from one district, but then you got to mold it into what's going to work for your district.
Yep.
You can't just cookie cut, well, it worked here, it should work here.
Yeah.
You got to really find out what some of those challenges are going to be down the road. But I think that really also ties into our strategic plan. So, flexible start, flexible schedules also ties in to the strategic plan that was created by a lot of stakeholders within this community. So that's really going to be driving the vision still, and kind of what we want to try to accomplish.
And of course, if you do make a move like the 2 and 8:30 or whatever, there is that domino effect, right?
Of course,
whether it be sports practices later,
That's why you got to bring everyone back to the table, listen to the concerns, and then try to come up with a compromise and game planning that is going to work for everybody.
Absolutely.
Down the road.
Again, Sean Gallagher here, Newburyport School Superintendent, first year, so it's still the first few months on the job here. Would you say was July 1st was a day?
July 1st.
July 1st. Yeah. So very good. So things have kicked into full gear here. You're well off and running. It's the first time I've got to meet you. So a little bit more about the background. You mentioned you're a North Shore guy. You grew up in Salem. You said.
Yes.
Very good. Very nice. But one of my favorite cities as well.
Very
Salem.
similar. Salem, Beverly, and Newburyport. Very similar seacoast
good,
cities.
nice walking city, Salem.
Yes.
And you know what I like about Salem? I don't know. You don't still live there, do you?
Yes,
I do.
You do
still live there.
Yes.
Okay, well that's great because I find it to be a very friendly dog city.
Yes, I bring my dog to the dog park.
Yeah, I was just there the other day, last weekend.
Problem is, I can't get the leash back on him, so maybe you can tell me. Yeah, he just keeps running.
Puppy?
No.
Gee, well, I can't help you there then. But man, it's great. Every restaurant we went out to lunch, you can bring the dog a little outside, keep him outside, and they have water bowls and everything. It was very enjoyable.
Yes, that's great.
It is. It's a great city. But yeah, so a little bit about yourself. You grew up in Salem, and
so I grew up in Salem. This family-wise, I'm the youngest of 4 boys. My dad was a teacher for 42 years. Was an English teacher, then was a department head.
Probably helped with 4 boys, huh?
It did. And my mom was a nurse, so I think growing up,
wow, really helped with 4 boys. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, so my dad would, work with us with the education piece, and if there was ever a scrap, my mom could patch us up, and
It never happened though, right?
No. But so I just think that the value of giving back and community was really installed in me, and then from there I got into teaching. I started teaching. The first job I had was in Everett, Mass. I was pre-K to 6 health educator, and back in the early 90s there was not a lot of teaching jobs. There was a lot of cuts. So I prepared for secondary education, and it was a great fit to start in elementary school. My first class ever, I'll never forget it, was a kindergarten class, and they gave me a run for my money pretty quick.
You almost ran away?
That's right. I'd rather work with the high school students. But no, it was a great experience. And then I moved on to Lynn Alternative High School. Okay. From Everett to Lynn. And it was one of the first alternative high schools, in the Commonwealth, like an alternative setting for student success. And it was just a great experience. And I really took the lesson planning of an elementary teacher along with differentiated instruction at the alternative school. And then I was fortunate after that to get a teaching job in my alma mater, Salem High School, where I taught science and health, and also got to coach. I coached football and wrestling there for many years, and then became the assistant athletic director, and then moved into the athletic director role in the early 2000s, and then just started that trajectory of administration. Was an assistant principal, then became the principal of our rival town, Beverly.
Yes, indeed.
I was there for 10 years. We did a lot of great things in a collaborative effort, with the faculty and support staff and the community.
What were they, the Panthers in Beverly?
Yeah, Beverly Panthers.
Took that one out. I didn't think I had it for a second.
You're a Falcon.
I'm a Falcon.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. So you've worked in like half of the North Shore communities.
That's
my goodness.
Right.
You got it covered. Everything north of Boston. My goodness. You got a feel for everything. No,
that's right.
Great.
And then, as we were saying, I moved to central office, was an assistant superintendent for a couple of years there in Wilmington, and as you're looking for superintendencies, I really was very selective on where I wanted to apply, and I felt it was a good fit, and I really looked at Newburyport, as I was saying, understanding from the outside in a lot of the great tradition, a lot of the pride in this community.
Yep.
And what really intrigued me was, I think, the smaller setting, in the sense of my leadership style being out there, getting to know the students, the teachers, the families. I just felt it was a good fit.
Yeah.
And I was very fortunate to go through that interview process, and here we are.
Absolutely. Your particular position, and like many, pretty much every, we have a lot of coaches in here too, a lot of high school coaches, and I always joke with them because you're always going to have issues with parents, and there's no coach in the history of coaching high school athletics who has gone a year without having a critic. You also are in one of those positions now where you're not going to please everybody all the time. How do you deal with that?
Well, I think that and I think I've had a pretty successful career. Once again, I think it's really about communicating to people, and not necessarily communicating good news, right?
Yeah.
It's communicating bad news, and and sometimes people may disagree. They may get in the car and drive away very upset, or unfortunately today with social media, they'll take shots on social media. But I think
that's kind of lame, isn't it?
Yeah, it's different. I would rather talk things out with people, but it is the I guess, the venue that some people use. But I think regardless if they agree or disagree, I think what the Newburyport community will recognize is I may disagree with what they're doing, or I may disagree with the superintendent, but ultimately he's making decisions what they feel is in the best interest of students and families. And I think with that premise, I've had the opportunity to work through a lot of disagreements and with people that disagree with us, but we always come back to the table because the focus is on what's best for students.
Yep.
And I think that's just been part of my background in working with families, and they know they're going to get a fair process and they'll be heard. And then, we go from there.
Absolutely. Again, we're joined here by Sean Gallagher, the superintendent of Newburyport Schools. First year on the job. July 1st was the first day for him. Sean, I am the husband of a teacher. She's in the Saugus schools. I don't think you said you worked in Saugus.
Sachems.
Yeah, there you go. Is that a community you did not work in? Did we find one?
I drive by there.
You drive by? Okay. Yeah, well, I think a lot of us do. It's right there on the highway. Yeah. But so I do have the benefit of a first-hand look at teaching in 2018 is a hard job. It's there's a lot of especially in her case, she manages a lot of teachers as well, and it's there's that aspect of well, first of all, a lot of long days, but also a lot of I'm seeing stuff of like buying appliances, and just kind of doing it because they're don't have the appliances and kind of doing it on the own dime and that sort of thing. And whenever I see these big debates nationwide, it seems like that is a common theme throughout the country of not having enough appliances and whatever the issue may be. Supplies, yeah. I wonder, you seem to be one of those person. You like to get the feel for students, teachers, parents. Are you trying to pick the brains of a teacher? You come from a son of a teacher too, so I mean, you must be extra. I don't know if sympathetic is the right word. That's probably not the right word, but you probably tend to keep an extra eye open for that. If I had to guess.
And I agree 100%. I mean, the unfunded mandates, the accountability, I think just the volume of work that teachers are under, in the scrutiny that they're under, I think it's really important, as a superintendent, especially working within the district, to recognize that and to realize when your people or when our teachers are under a lot of stress, and to add to the plate. They don't have enough supply, so they're doing lesson planning, they're putting long hours in, they're talking with students, parents on a daily basis. And as you know, you typically take the work home, you're probably correcting at night and planning for the next day.
Yep.
But on top of that, to add more stress to the teachers where they don't have adequate supplies within the classroom, just, those are things that you look for. I mean, we try to control what we always work with our staff and say is, let's control the things we can control, and let's not dwell or worry about the things that we can't. And I'm hoping as we develop our budget and our budget process that within the classrooms, that this isn't a stressor for our staff where they're out looking to buy supplies just to run their lessons. And being in the classes, in the support from our NEF, Newburyport Ed Foundation is amazing. So there's a lot of community support for teachers in the classrooms too, which is, I think, one thing that I haven't seen in other communities that I've seen here. It's really, really impressive.
That's great. Yeah. Well, that is good. I wonder when you think about the job superintendent at the core of it. I mean, there's a million different parts to it. I do understand that, but is the core of it students and teachers in that classroom? I mean, that's going to be first concern, right?
I think so. And as I said, that's been administrative philosophy that has been successful for me, and I know it's a little bit different at the superintendent level, but I just really believe you can never lose focus on teaching and learning and students and families and your staff. And it can be you can lose focus because you are getting pulled in a lot of different directions, but I really believe you need to balance that approach, and really never lose sight of that.
Absolutely.
So that's been, something that, that we've been doing, and just really talking to people, the volume of emails that come through this office is really at a high level, and so we've just been handing out the phone numbers, and just if you have a concern or a complaint or an issue, just give us a call and we can talk through it.
And I will say, and I don't want your phone to start ringing off the hook.
No,
but we were trying to get you on the show here, and your assistant, I'm mind blanking. I'm sorry,
Kathy Manning.
Kathy Manning. She seemed very efficient.
Yes,
she seems like a very good person to have in your side.
She's great.
And now she can. So if you want to call Kathy, I'm sorry, Kathy, but no, it was sometimes your position can be a little bit hard to not necessarily Newburyport. I mean, superintendents across the state can be a little tough to get in touch with. But
exactly. And I think we make ourselves accessible. But the other piece too is we work with families, and a lot of the their answers could be answered at the teacher level or the principal level, and and so that's a whole aspect of communication, effective communication.
Absolutely. All right. Well, you got 10 more minutes with you?
Sure.
You sure? I don't want to keep you from anything too pressing, but I'd love to do 10 more. I want to talk about the you got this chill in the air, and I feel winter just pressing in on us. I know that's going to that'll make your job nice and easy. I know that. We'll talk a little bit about that when we get back.
Sure.
Again, Sean Gallagher, the superintendent of Newburyport Schools, year 1 on the job. So my first chance to meet him. It's nice of him to stop in on a Tuesday. Keep it here. We'll be right back. It is Afternoon Drive on Joppa Radio. My name is Drew Moholland. Keep it here.
They call me the junker, 'cause I'm loaded all the time. I don't use no reaper, I be knocked out on that ancient wine. 6 months ain't no sin on. And 1 year ain't no time. They got boys in penitentiary doing from 9 to 99. I was standing on the corner with my reefer in my hand. Upstairs, the sergeant took that reefer right from my hand. My mother, she told me, and my father told me too, that junk is a bad habit, you should leave it too. My brother used a needle, and my sister sniffed cocaine. I don't use no junk, I'm the nicest boy you've ever seen. My sister even told me, and my grandma told me too, that using junk partner sure was gonna be the death of you.
All right, welcome back to Afternoon Drive here on Joppa Radio. My name is Drew Moholland. Tyler Neufeld producing on the radio side. David Kramer on the TV side. Hello to everybody watching at home and on the interwebs. Hope you're having a good day. I'm very excited. Red Sox baseball here in an hour and a half. As you know, I'm a big baseball guy, so I am very thrilled with the 5 o'clock start time. Do the show, get out of here. I'm going to give a very quick goodbye to Sarah, go watch a little volleyball, and then go watch the Red Sox. So that is my plan for the day. Sean Gallagher is in the house, the new Newburyport superintendent. Thank you, Sean. It's been good to meet you here so far.
Yeah,
Thanks for sticking for a second segment as well. We always appreciate that. It feels a little bit chilly out there, right?
Yes.
It's nice, but it's blustery. And I came out of the gym last night, the Beverly Athletic Club, played a little basketball, and I felt like just a week or two ago it was sunny when I was leaving, and last night it was dark as could be, and I immediately thought, I'm very scared. Winter's coming.
Winter is coming.
And
yeah, it's like the Game of Thrones.
Exactly. Great show, right? I love that show. Is that ever coming back, by the way?
Yeah, it is. It's supposed to be January.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then only, from my understanding, 6 episodes. So.
Oh, that's right. I remember hearing about that last time. Yeah, so 6 episodes. It's a very good show. Yeah. You watch that, Tyler?
I saw half of the episode from the last season, the first episode from the last season.
So no, you don't really watch it. Yeah, okay.
It's a lot of watching.
You got to do a lot of catching up to do if you're into it. But winter, yes, winter is coming. You have a lot of pressure in the wintertime. The kids are watching you. The parents are watching you. Sometimes both rooting for different things.
I have a great story. So, as part of going out and about, visit the lunchrooms. And so the other day I was at the 4th and 5th grade lunchroom during lunchtime, and I saw these students. And, I asked, how's it going? And my first question, I've been here 2 months. Do you know who I am? And, when they say yes, I'm all excited, Yes, you're our superintendent. And so this one 4th grader says to me, he's, because I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, all right, here we go. And he goes, you call the snow days, right? I'm like, yes, I do.
You didn't run out of the building. Good for you.
And I said, he holds up 4. He goes, 4. And I said, 4? And he goes, 4 snow days. I don't want 3, and I don't want 5. I want 4. And I'm, why 4? And he goes, well, if you give 5, you're gonna run into my vacation time in June.
Look at this.
Yeah. And this is what they're thinking about. And I'm like, well, I appreciate that. And 4 is in the back of my head. And as I'm walking by, he's like, and one other thing, no snow bags. So the snow bag idea is a lot of the superintendents in districts, if they have a snow day, they send home work, and the students complete the work during the snow day, so then that day doesn't count against the district.
Oh, I don't know if I like that.
He did not like that.
I'm with him, I think.
And I said, you really enjoy your snow days? He goes, I do. I don't want to be doing any of that schoolwork. And I was like, all right, well, I'll see what I can do to take care of you. So in the back of my mind, I have the number 4.
When you're going to, undoubtedly around here, you're going to have a couple of snow days.
Sure.
And when you get a couple, you're going to be thinking about that number 4. I can almost guarantee it.
Right. I might have to call him and give him an excuse, if we get to 5 to let him go on that vacation.
I'm very sorry there. Very sorry, young man. We're getting close to 5.
No, but just all kidding aside. So we had our meeting, and Tony Finari, DPW.
Yeah, we've had him in. Good man.
Yeah, great guy, and so it's really a collaborative approach when we're calling snow. And so we'll, Steve Burkholm.
There you go. Put it on everybody else. Good for you. Yeah. It's really these guys.
It's the guy that makes the person that makes the call gets the blame. But no, I just think the system's in place. So when we really do have to make that call, it's it's going to be I think the right call, because they have a lot of experience and they know Newburyport and what needs to get done. So
that would be another one of those decisions that a superintendent has that you pretty much cannot win on. You're going to have students very angry at you.
Right.
You're going to have the parents, and I remember my grandfather. We used to walk to school uphill both ways in that kind of weather. So that was you're not going to win on that one either way. So good luck. I wish you all the best with that winless proposition there. And winter, as you're a North Shore guy, so you can get hit pretty hard around here. So we always, it's the Plum Island. It's always the joke that not that the majority of your school system lives out on Plum Island, but
Right.
but it's it's always the running jokes. Storms coming, go get a reporter there because it could get ugly around.
Right. And from talking to, I guess, as you move up north a little bit, once you pass the Georgetown exit, that's when, for some reason, I was
that's the
told.
marker? Yeah.
It's the marker. The Newburyport weather is a lot worse. And
I hadn't heard that. That's good
yeah.
to.
So when I was in Salem, one morning it was drizzling out. And I didn't throw on a raincoat. And I was like, oh, it's just a little drizzle.
Yeah.
And as soon as I got past that Georgetown line, it was downpouring for about 40 minutes.
Not a myth, apparently. Very good.
Yeah, right.
The one other thing that you're getting, you're actually already getting credit for within this building, I will tell you. Our Tyler tells me that our TV producer, the guy putting this all together here,
Yes.
is very pleased with your ability to keep the school meetings short.
Yes.
He finds that they move along very well. You
Oh,
not
that's
too much
great.
time for lollygagging, and he's allowed to get home at a reasonable hour. David would like to thank you for this.
All right. Well, we're trying,
Is that a real thing? You try to keep it a brisk pace, like let's keep everything moving?
I think so. I think it's just, when, especially it's technically a business meeting.
Yep.
And, we go through a lot of,
And we film those, by the way,
Yeah,
for those of you who don't
right.
know what I'm talking about. That's why David likes them to go fast.
he does. And I'll tell you guys do a great job. They accommodate, they set up the sets. And then if we're going to have presentations, they just do a great job. But no, I think it's good for everybody if, when we can get to the, really, a functional meeting, because then more parents and families will either watch or they could attend knowing that it's going to
Yep.
be an hour and a half to 2 hours versus 4.5
Boxed
5
in
hour
for 4
meeting.
hours.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
that would be tough.
and I'll tell you, Bruce Menon and Mayor Donna Holiday, they're great, and the whole school committee's really been great. We're all kind of working as a team, and that's been a nice transition.
Yeah, we had the mayor on a couple weeks ago after kind of fresh off that trip to the West Coast there, which
Right.
that was kind of a big deal around here, wasn't it?
I mean, I'm just really impressed, with the mayor and the city council and school committee, all of these local officials just really working together and doing what's best, not only for the school system and the families, but really for Newburyport and putting Newburyport's interests first. And, it's just an amazing community.
And just to pat our guys on the back again for 1 second, since we
Sure.
just mentioned it. Yeah, I always take an opportunity to do that, right? Do you know how many days that I'm not necessarily running behind, but I'm not exactly in here well before this show. There's a lot. I got a lot to do here, folks. So don't hold that against me. But do you know how many days I come in here and these guys are already set up and ready to go? Sometimes my guest has beaten me here and they already got it ready to go. It's unbelievable. So
Right.
so thank you, Tyler and David and Lexi, all you guys. What'd you say? Oh, there you go. See that? He's the best. So, but yes. So, anyways, we got the winters, you get the meetings. That's all good. No controversy there yet. What is the hardest part about being the Newburyport superintendent that you weren't expecting? What's the quirk? What's the thing that you don't think about when it comes to the job of a superintendent?
Oh, those are some tough questions there.
It's really one. It's really
It's that
one
high
big
order
question.
thinking. It's taking it to the next level. No, I think
We can go back to school start times if you want.
that's awesome. No, like I think the difference in working within the community and going from high school principal to the superintendent, it's a lot of those skills are transferable because you're doing with a lot of similar aspects of the job, but you're really looking at the entire community with a district lens and more of a vision down the road instead of principals. And the job of principal is you're living in the moment, you're problem solving, and you're dealing with day-to-day operations. Superintendent, you're also doing that, but you're really setting the vision and looking at the big picture down the road. So I think that's one shift that for me has been great, because I think I can bring a lot of my experience to the administration and leadership as they are dealing with day-to-day operations and provide advice, but at the same time not really getting tied up in in a lot of that.
I mean, you have to. I remember when I took my first news editing job. I remember my news director telling me you need to learn how to delegate more, and I can understand where that might be something you have to learn in the superintendent
Correct.
role as well. You can't do it all.
Right, you can't do it all, and you have to allow the leaders to really run their schools, and we all have different leadership styles, and we all would handle things a little bit differently, and so it's it's hands off and allowing your leadership to take charge and to handle those situations, but also having them feel supported, if a decision doesn't turn out the way they think it might, just to make sure that you support them. And I think the other aspect, and it's been a kind of working with our school committee, is really working with the school committee as a team, kind of bringing us all together with focusing on the strategic plan and doing what's best for students. So that aspect, as a principal, you can kind of run your own building and take care of things. As a superintendent, you work with the board, which is the school committee, as you're working through the system. So those are just, I wouldn't call them challenges, but just different aspects of the job, as superintendent. But I'm telling you, so far it's been great. I love the community. Every day I come to work, and I'm learning more and more about the community, and I'm getting even more and more excited about the great foundation that's already been laid down here, and we continue to move us forward.
Well, that is great. I can tell you we've heard all good things on our side, and
all right.
I wouldn't say that if it wasn't true. I have not heard any negative stuff.
You'll wait for me to leave.
No, I've heard all good things in this building as well. We got some interns, like I said, that are in there, and
great.
I do like the idea of them actually knowing you. I'm still kind of and I've been thinking very hard, even during this interview. Did I ever meet? No, I don't think I ever even knew who it was. But not a knock on the old superintendent, whoever it was, but I just think it was different.
Yes.
I was going to mention, that's one thing I wanted to bring up. I hear, we have a lot of athletes and high school athletes on the show. I hear you have a bit of not maybe a sports background or sports interest. Were you in the building doing the football game last week? I have sources telling me that you did a nice little play-by-play call.
Yes. So 104.9 way back when.
Beverly.
Yeah, Beverly radio station it's actually out of Gloucester, but really North Shore football.
Yeah.
And when I retired from coaching, I would say 12 years ago, 104 asked me if I would, do some broadcasting.
Yep.
And I'm not like Coach Gruden. No one's offered me a multi-million-dollar contract yet.
I don't think you want to be Coach Gruden right now.
No, that's right. But ever since then, I've been broadcasting North Shore football, and it's been awesome. And we did 2 Newburyport games this year, which was excellent to do. It was an away game against Ipswich and a home game against Triton, and arch rival. And behind the scenes, I'm working on seeing if we can get the Thanksgiving Day game.
Nice.
The Amesbury Newburyport Thanksgiving Day game. So
I did the hockey for many years here in Newburyport at the old station, which is before you took over the job here, but that's kind of what this station is trying to pick up a lot of from the old station across town there. And there really is nothing better than doing the local high school kids.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many people you hear from, whether it be grandparents in Florida or we get letters in the mail and stuff, and like emails, and mostly emails these days. But it's I don't know, just a cool thing. You don't think about how many people you're connecting with at the high school level.
Right.
I was thinking my grandfather. He would do road games or something.
Yeah.
He'd be sitting in the living room,
and getting to school.
Exactly. It's in Thanksgiving too, driving to wherever you need to go after you go to your morning game, and maybe you're trying to catch the end of some other game somewhere. It is a very cool thing. So that's a lot of fun. You guys got the good football program right now. I like your coach. He's I don't know how often you get to actually meet with the coaches yet. I know you're just a few months in here, so you probably haven't met everybody. But I love the group of we've talked a lot about teachers, but your group of coaches is very very good to us on the radio side, but also seems like a lot of coaches that players would like to play for. I think you'll be happy to hear that as well.
Yes, as we talk, that's you talk about tradition and pride in the athletic program over the years has really carried that torch of pride and representing the community and
get some history here with good teams and all that.
Exactly. Yeah. And I've had the opportunity to talk to some of the teams. I've talked to all the coaches and really just relaying that message on. Sports is a privilege. Yeah. And when our student athletes go out, they're representing all of us, and that's kind of the message. And I'll exactly agree 100%. We have coaches that, yes, there's X's and O's, and people look, especially to varsity level, be competitive and win games. But more importantly, I think our coaches, the teaching of character, sportsmanship, and being a good citizen. Yeah. And if you can get the best of both worlds in the athletic program, that's what it's all about. And Kyle Hodgson, our AD, has done a great job too, and kind of overseeing that and really facilitating that mentality.
I still call him the new guy because he wasn't here when I came on.
Yeah.
I actually knew
he looks like a new guy.
He's not so new anymore. He's not.
No, he isn't.
I guess I'm not new anymore.
Right.
I guess that's why. But that's interesting. And when stuff like that happens, by the way, I'm always curious about this because I actually remember when I was in high school, we had a issue with before a football game, and long story short, cheerleaders got in some trouble. No more needs to be said. But is that a principle deal? Like when the kids are going to make mistakes, we know that. We hope they don't.
Right.
That will make life a lot less stressful for you and a whole lot of people. But when it comes to like that sort of discipline stuff, does that fall on the principal? Or I've always been curious, or does that go all the way up that ladder to you?
No, it's typically handled at the building level and the principal and the athletic director.
Building level, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then, eventually, if people are upset, disagree, it can, move up to the superintendent's office.
But you say, please don't let that escalate.
Right. Well, I think it's, and I was an athletic director, coach and principal for a very long time. And that's, athletics is a privilege and there's some minimum penalties when students get into trouble or they make a mistake. I mean, they're still kids. Yeah. They're not professional athletes. So I just think it's really taking those opportunities and having them as learning opportunities and not necessarily just focusing on the discipline. There's usually part of, a process there to really support the students and, after discipline or something like that. But, that's always tough. And I think, I remember as a coach, we would always work with the student athletes similar to our athletic department, and at the end of every practice, just saying, hey, let's make good decisions. Yep. Let's focus on the team, and I think as much as you can do that, the 99% of the student athletes, follow the rules and do the right thing. But there are some times where students make mistakes. We'll follow up with what we need to do with discipline and all of that, but it's really more about supporting them with any of the issues that they might be dealing with.
I'm sure social media, makes that a lot easier, all that stuff.
Yeah,
right?
it just, the other piece is and I always would, as we're working with families and students, what's happening in schools is happening, usually in the real world. It's not schools isolated. So if our adults, within the community or above us and even political figures are acting irresponsible with social media posts, it's going to trickle down eventually to the schools. And I don't know, we've been working with our students and social emotional learning and really focusing on having become better models and talk through our issues and avoid social media, for negativity. But it's
stuff doesn't go away either.
It doesn't. It stays there forever. And that's, sometimes working with the students, they need to understand that, like, what you post on Facebook when you're applying to colleges or jobs, the first place they look is your social media. Looking at your tweets, they're looking at Facebook. So if you have a lot of controversial information out there, people are going to find out.
It didn't even. Yeah, sometimes I don't even think of that being past college age. My goodness, you're sending in those applications. They must be looking at that stuff.
100%. And they look for really anything controversial that's been posted. So
there you go. There's your lesson,
that's
kids.
the lesson of the day.
Superintendent lesson of the day. Maybe a new segment.
Yeah, all right. I'll come
You
back.
come in every show. You're a Red Sox fan. You gonna watch today's game?
Yes. As you said, when the older you get, the less anything after 10, I just watch Sports Center the next morning and figure out what happened.
My mother used to say when we were having curfew arguments back in the day, nothing good happens after 11. I completely agree now.
Including Red Sox games.
Including Red Sox games, yeah. Nice little 5 o'clock start. Should be good. I'm excited for it. It's nothing better than fall baseball when all the other sports are kicking into gear. So, and I love the 5 o'clock start. It's going to be fantastic to be able to watch a full baseball game. Sean Gallagher, thank you so much. It was a blast having you on.
This is awesome. Thank you very much.
I hope you enjoyed it. Pretty quick and painless, and that's what I always tell everybody. It flies by. I did lie to you. You stayed a little bit later than I think we had promised, but that tends to happen with interesting guests. So,
you bring me back after the first snow day call, maybe.
Yes, and hopefully.
As long as the call line's not on.
Hopefully you're not pulling your hair out. Yeah, I know. Yeah, so far we haven't opened up the Twitter. We'll take some questions on, but that's safer. We can pick and choose. Once that phone line starts going, I don't know if we want to open up that can of worms. But I wish you continued success, Sean, throughout the first. You're almost coming towards the end, right? How far are we into the fall semester?
Yeah, it's
flies by, doesn't
November 6th is. November 6th or the 12th is the closing of first quarter grades.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you get I always said fall season kind of you jump into the school, it kind of goes by quickly. And winter slows down a little bit. You can have some long winters.
Yeah.
And then the spring is summer's here before you know it.
That's right.
So then that's your first year in the books. There you go.
There you go.
Well, there you go.
Summed it up for me.
Any questions or complaints can go to your assistant.
I think they should call the radio station first.
Oh, call the radio. Yeah, sure you go. Twitter. Just send the Twitter. That'll be just fine. Thank you again, Sean. It's been a pleasure.
All right.
Tyler Neufeld on the radio production side. Thank you, sir, as always. David Kramer on the TV side. We should mention, too, you guys, Tyler, maybe I can let you chime in here. You got a debate tomorrow you guys setting up for?
Yeah. So
go ahead, jump on the mic. You can give a quick shout out.
So we have forgive me if I pronounce it wrong. I think it's Rocco Runyon. Is that her name? Last name? Yep, I think so.
You got it.
And Calcourse, they're going to be at the Knock. I think it's 7 p.m. tomorrow. We're currently working on our live shot.
Okay, yeah.
Having some problems. It'll work out. But they'll be debating 7 p.m. tomorrow at the Knock. I forget who's mediating. There's a mediator. Check the radio. Check the government channel.
Yeah, it's going to be
Channel
8 or 9. 8 or 9.
Yeah.
There you go. You'll find it. 8 or 9. Thank you, Tyler. Very good. Good information there. We met him at the bed race, didn't we? Course.
We did.
I think we did.
Yeah.
Nice guy. Briefly said hello. So there you go. A lot happens at that bed race. I'm telling you.
Have to get on that.
All right. Thanks again to Sean Gallagher, Newburyport Superintendent, joining for the debate tomorrow. And real quickly, just my guest on Thursday, we're going to have a bit of a music show, which I'm very excited about. A guy that I randomly bumped into at the Newburyport Brewery recently and put on an excellent show. Lee Biddle is going to bring his acoustic guitar in here, and we're going to have some fun. I know Tyler's all excited about that, the musician that he is. So Lee Biddle on the show Thursday. Going to be a little bit of a Thursday afternoon rock show in the house. We sometimes do. It's like the NPR little tiny table concert thing. That's what we do here some days. So looking forward to that. What is it? Sorry? Small, tiny table. Yeah, there. I don't know. Whatever. But Lee Biddle will be here Thursday, so it should be a lot of fun. Again, big thanks to Sean Gallagher, Newburyport Superintendent. We will see you Thursday for the show with Lee Biddle, 3 o'clock, same time, same place. My name is Drew Moholland. See you Thursday. Go Red Sox. We'll see you. Bye-bye.